Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. Welcome in, one and all, and welcome back, guys. And we are holding the clock to see how long, for those of you who are watching, how long Ahmed Gordon can hold that pose. Starting a minute ago. Hi, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sybil. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks. And Mr. Williams, Damon, out on the vineyard. How are you?
I am great. I am back on the vineyard. We did the first week, and then I went home to get my wife, whose
To pick
birthday
up
is
your
today.
woman. Yes.
Yes, and our puppies,
Oh, wow.
um,
Oh,
and
Lord.
came back to the vineyard. And we're having fantastic shows. This week's lineup will be Ray Gordon, George
We'll
Will.
get to that. We'll get to that. I promise.
No,
I
we
promise.
won't.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, we
Okay,
will. I promise.
he's
Because
still
this is
holding.
we're still trying to do the show like we do, and keep it in order, and to keep Ahmed.
I mean, that's not bad. That's
Hey,
that's shoulder strength right there.
Ahmed, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Okay.
Doing that
Good.
on purpose to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of, sort of did.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all
Absolutely.
right. That's all
All
right.
right. I
Great
know. I
job. Happy
know.
birthday to
Damon.
Mrs. Williams.
I know we've got a schedule to keep, and a producer who will keep us online and on track. So let's start with the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday effort to super serve the African American community. Say it with me now. It's absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com to subscribe, and we'll have it in your email box. If you are having problems in the delivery of the newsletter, please check your spam or your junk mail. Not that it is, it just happens sometimes to go there. I do that as well. Then I get back on track, and it comes into my regular mailbox. So, and if you're still having a problem with that, then contact us there at sybilwilkes.com, and we'll get you back up and straight. All right. Cameron, let's start with you as our political contributor. You, in this newsletter, talk about how the vice president is on the road to share with Americans how Bidenomics is helping the country.
Yeah, Sybil, let's talk jobs for a second. Previously, our viewers knew that in last month, the majority of the recent unemployees were Black Americans, 90% of them. And before that, the unemployment rate for Black Americans ticked upward to troubling heights. But now, this month's job report was delivered by the vice president herself. Kamala Harris spoke to the strength of the economy, the strength of the maintaining of the job market, things for Black Americans. Unemployment ticked about 2 points lower, so that's good. And things seem to be pretty consistent between this month and the previous month. And she attributed the strength of that resilient metric to Biden's new economic plan called Bidenomics, which
Bidenomics.
is yeah, it's a direct jab at the good old fashioned Reaganomics, which we saw a rapid expansion of the private sector. This is going to be an investment in small businesses, an investment in the working class people. And Kamala Harris announced an $125 million investment in federal programs for small businesses nationwide. So if anyone's trying to crack open a side hustle, now is a very good time to do so.
Is it really? Is that what she's telling us? Because from all other indications, I mean, the job openings are going down, and still people are still trying to find jobs, as well as the interest rates are still at an all-time high.
Yeah, that's not what Kamala Harris is saying at all. Kamala Harris wants us to believe in the strength of Bidenomics for the long term. She wants us to buy in to Joe Biden's plan, which, by the numbers, it's certainly working. Inflation is down. New jobs keep being added to the job market every single year. We do know that their prices are still unreasonably high in certain sectors: cars, homes, groceries. But as far as maintaining this post-COVID inflation market is concerned, Kamala Harris wants to believe that Joe Biden's doing a great job, and I believe her.
I want to believe too. And I'm hopeful. I don't know about you guys, and Damon, certainly you as a businessman can speak to that. Whether you think that things are getting better and that Bidenomics is working?
Well, I can say that there hasn't been a drastic fall off. Normally, when you see recession or inflation, live entertainment and expendable or income items are things that people don't do as often. But we've had a pretty robust summer in entertainment, and around the country, most places have been well attended. So that's a good economic sign. That's a good factor. So let's say it's working, and then let's keep it going because they've been predicting gloom and doom. All the economists and the strategists have been saying we're going to fall into a deep recession, the worst ever, and it hasn't materialized. And let us pray that it doesn't anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so that's good news, and that is a part of what Cameron does as far as politics are concerned. I also had an opportunity to talk a little politics in my story, and it's voting day. It's voting day in the state of Mississippi as well as the state of Ohio. Mississippi is voting. This is primary election day for the folks in Mississippi. Um, they are voting for those top to bottom statewide offices, including governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, also the state house and the U.S. and the state senate positions. And this is really important for Black folks who are a good third of the state of Mississippi, and yet they don't feel as though they are being represented equally in that state. And so it's an opportunity for them to make some upsets and to perhaps change the direction of the state of Mississippi in so many different ways, where they're last in terms of economy or education or health and welfare, that kind of thing. The really interesting thing about the state of Ohio is a special election, and this could affect abortion rights. If I'm not looking at the clock correctly, the polls are closed in the state of Ohio, and voters went early and participated in their legal right to vote. And this a special election, they want to keep the changes that they want to take place in the state constitution at a simple majority. It's state issue one. And folks who on the Republican side want to make it more difficult for a measure that would, in this case, which is the next issue that they have coming up, would enshrine abortion rights into the state's constitution that they expect to pass later this year. And so, issue one, the Republicans are saying they want to make it 60%, a supermajority of voters to make this determination, while the Democrats, who are in favor of passing abortion rights through to the state, say that they want it kept at a simple majority of 50%. A yes vote on issue one means that constitutional amendments, including the abortion amendment, would need the 60% support rather than the existing 50% plus one. It's a lot of trickery on the parts of some, but I would say that Democrats and those who are in favor of abortion rights and reproductive rights for women have gone a very long way in order to try to get the message across about how they want everyone to have a say in abortion rights in the state of Ohio. So it'll be interesting to see how this all falls out. So that is our newsletter. I am moving things along a little bit because, as Damon said, he has to leave a little bit earlier. But I am moving things along a little bit because I do want to talk about this issue that I think, Cameron, I haven't seen your social media, but Med and I have certainly talked about it and put it in our news. And Damon was one of the first people to comment about the mall in Montgomery, the Brawl at the Montgomery docks. And so this is where we want everyone to kind of chime in. And they had an update on this, and I'll give this as we go along. But overall, your stance on what happened over the weekend along the dock, along the river there in Montgomery, Alabama. Damon?
Well, there's a lot of funny going around. There's a lot of memes. There's, everybody's doing skits and sketches. So I kind of stayed away from that from a commentary side. But I just want to let all the white people to know if someone tells you to have a seat, it might not mean sit down.
A reference to a chair that played a prominent part in this mall.
Absolutely. There's pride in it because,
Yeah.
especially in the South, especially with Montgomery being the hotbed of civil rights and the birthplace of some of the movement, for us to have always been, peaceful and turn the other cheek. And these are not those Negroes. So, we don't want to condone violence, of course, but we don't want to accept it and let it just exist. They need to know that, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth is also in the Bible. So I believe so anyway. It's not like I read it recently. But if there are any biblical scholars out there, you can chime in on that as well. But I just think it is time that we stood up for them to be 6-1 or 4-1, however many jump this man who's doing his job, especially in one of the most peaceful places that I enjoy is a marina.
That was my point with
Yeah,
you.
I think a
really
long way
wanted
to
to
get
focus.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about the boat areas, it's placid, it's peaceful, but it's a lot of alcohol too. So, but it's been many stories of white guys, white boys jumping off boats and jumping people on docks and marinas. There's been many stories because they normally outnumber us because there are way more white boaters in most circumstances, and they feel the majority or a super majority allows them to act the fool. But now they know, and I hope that first of all, it delays anybody thinking about doing stuff like that. But it also gives them the fact that the consequences, like I say, young Black American males are already ready and fired up. And we battle tested, So what you don't want is that. And it's not just males, as you saw from the video. Matter of fact, a lot
Yeah.
of
Drunk
women,
white women. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of Black women though have been throwing hands at every 7-Eleven and gas station around the country. So they also been in training. So it's unfortunate it happened, but I'm also kind of proud of it because that's what the response needs to be. It should match the egregious behavior.
All right. I love that. Using a big A word. Thank you very much. Uh, let's go to you, Med, and they're in the kitchen frying up in a pan.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on what happened? Obviously, this is what's really going on. If I did not introduce this properly, this is our segment, What's Really Going On, and asking people their opinions about what happened in Montgomery along the boat dock there.
I just feel like, those white men should have known because their whole, new summer mantra of don't try that in a small town fit
Okay. Jason
this
Aldean, right?
situation because this is exactly what I think he was talking about. Is if you try to do this small, you'll get stomped out. This is the classic form of F around and find out. And when it comes to this situation, watching it, I was watching it, I was like, you feel a sense of pride. And I am not one who is down for violence at all. But there's a point where you see that man, that security guard, who starts off and Alexa, stop. Thank you. And so you see the security guard starting off with a one-on-one fight, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, handle your business, sir. And then all of a sudden you see them converge on him, and now you're getting mad, and you kind of feel the whole situation kind of go out of control, and that's when our people started coming in and try to take over, and they absolutely did. Swimming in. Think about that situation. I want to put this out there. That young man who swam over, I'm not comfortable with his name being out there, and I think his family did it on accident by trying to thank people. I don't like the fact that his name is out there. I don't like the fact that his picture is circulating around. I know he's trying to thank everybody, but I want to make sure, because he has a publicist, but I want to make sure that he does not speak to anybody. I don't want him doing interviews or anything with anybody until this whole thing is sorted out. Because the update today was they put out the warrants and they named the names of the people they put the warrants out for. And at the time that I saw, only one person had to turn themselves in. And the man wielding the chair, they're asking him to come in to be interviewed. They're not looking for arrest him yet. They want to bring him in to talk to him. And so, Unc just need to, be careful and get your attorney ready. That's all.
Yeah, and come in with representation. Cameron, did you see any of this, and do you have thoughts on it?
I did see it. I mean, aside from everything that's been said already, I'm just happy that elected officials have stepped in and said, this is obviously racial violence. There is no coded speech around it. I mean, for the person that like wielded the chair, I'm kind of disappointed because he really went out of his way to like bop that white lady on the back of the head. And you could hear from the audio that like the police said, "Okay, you're going to jail now," which
Right.
means like he wasn't going before.
Well,
So,
you know, there was a moment where like he might have been able to skate past, but the police
right.
was like, no, this is just too, as Damon would say, too egregious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope that he gets some help because he does not have a very good case out of everybody. And I also hope that like, I mean, that we see decisive action, taken against the white offenders.
Yeah. I said yesterday that I thought that this was a combination of heat, anger, and there was a certain amount of the white people feeling as though they had the right to perform like this. There was a level of feeling as though they they owned this area, so to speak, and they weren't going to. I don't care how many white people were on that boat, were on the Harriet 2 or whatever it is. Uh, but that level of presumption that they didn't have to follow the rules, and seen by a lot of white people on the boat. Some of the video we've seen in news reports, not from social media, but from news reports, were from white people who were filming, and they were almost in disbelief that this was going on, and they recognized what was happening to Black people. And like you guys have said, I'm really glad that they stood up for it. I'm not a fighter at all. I don't even pretend to be one. Just using my words sometimes, but and not always effectively. But it's time that people recognize that in this, it's not. I don't care what small town it is. It's not right for them to go down.
We're in a very small place, and last week I was able to do this with nobody here. But there's been people coming in and out the bathroom. Happy birthday, baby! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Juanita.
Yeah, it was white privilege mixed with Coors Light, is what it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
and it gets them boys fired up. I don't know what they put in their beer, but it gets white boys fired up. And Trump had just left the area,
yeah.
so
Yep.
it's a lot of that privilege that they feel they have. And, it's time for them to realize that these are not those times when you could get away with that, even in the South.
And I don't care what song is popular, Jason Aldean or anybody else. If you come for us, we are showing this. You're
Right.
not going to leave having done that kind of damage to any of our people.
We got way more fight songs than Jason's little anthem. We got
Okay.
a lot of fighting in our music. So, Knuck If You Buck is the number one track for all of
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I want to shout out my friend who started an F around and find out playlist for for this entire thing that has gone viral. So Dayton Kendrick, if you go on Spotify or Apple, you can find it is hilarious because he has "A Home Is Not a Home" by Luther Vandross in there because a chair is not a chair,
because the chair
even
is
if you're
not a
swinging it
chair,
in the air.
of course. But Med, you made a great point about the young man being identified, because even and bringing it back to Donald Trump, the two Black women who worked as election workers, they put all of their information out on the internet, and Trump's supporters were able to go to these women's homes and
That's terrible.
they were going to do citizens arrest and bring them out and do damage to them. And the grandmother of one of the women, called and said, "Look, this is what's happening." They put them out on Front Street, and I hope this does not happen to this young man. And for all the good that he may or may not have intended, or that he did, I don't want to see any more damage to come to him.
Yeah.
Yolanda, do we have any people who are responding to this?
You don't have to.
If not, we can. I just want to give you this update. The Montgomery police said that the chief of police said that 13 people were detained Saturday and brought in for questioning after the fight, but they were all released. And after further investigation, warrants were issued for 3 men, and they named them. 2 warrants for a third-degree assault for one, and they were all varying ages, 23, 25, and 48, and one of them was in custody. And the chief of police did identify the man hitting people with the chair. Brother, was this the brother in the clean black suit, or there was another one who was? He's. I was like, dude, you look like you
No,
just stepped off.
he had a cap on, black shirt,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he was just whack-a-moling any white person he saw. And there was another
Right.
angle from inside the boat where I was just like, ooh, ooh, who is that?
He almost got away too. He just went too far to whack them.
One whack too
Leave me
many.
alone.
Yep. Because she was not aggressive at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he could say he was standing his ground and he feared for his safety. You know,
Right.
it's work for other
Yeah, we'll
people.
see. It's working.
And I also think it's interesting that they consulted with the FBI on possible hate crime charges, which we all agree. But how surprised was I that in the opening hours of this, white people weren't seeing the racial aspect to all of this, but they learned that day. They absolutely learned that day. Danielle Jackson O'Brien says, I think we're tired and very proud of how Black people united together as opposed to fighting one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that is, if nothing else comes from this, absolutely, Daniel, that we can do this. All right. I wanted you all to, because I think, we all have the right to express ourselves. And like I said, Damon's was the first social media that I saw in the wake of all of this happening. And I wanted you to give your thoughts on this. And I know you don't have a lot of time. So we're going to move to trending. And Damon, as we talk about trending, first of all, we want to congratulate your wife on her birthday. I hope that she's having a wonderful day. In the tiny house, and also you guys are extended another week in happy birthday. I know that you have, not the hair.
Yes.
Oh my God, ribbons in the dog's hair. Okay.
Wow.
This is what it's come to, people. This is my life now.
You look like a wonderfully kept man.
So
I
lost all my street cred. I'm kicked out the gang. It's a wrap.
Damon, tell us about who is performing at your comedy club this week on Martha's Vineyard.
Our sold out Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest this week. We had to add an additional show Thursday. Includes 2 Ray Gordon, Hope Flood, and George Wilborn. Of course, I'm hosting. DJ Dollar Bill is spinning. And it's been a magical thing considering that we had infiltrators. The response has been overwhelming and we appreciate that. And it's a tradition. This is our 12th annual, 13th year, of course, minus COVID. And I'm really proud of Steve and Dorothy Capers. They are leaseholders of a property here for the theater. They own this house now. And we got our footprint on the vineyard. So if you ever plan on coming, plan ahead early. It's the last week of July through the first 3 weeks of August now, and it may expand. We have D.L. Hughley this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Yeah, he was supposed to be here as a guest of our sponsor Hyatt, but he's a workaholic, so went from 1 show to 4 shows for DL. And we also want to thank Denny's April, who used to come on the ship on the join us. Got us some backing as well. So it's a magical thing. I'm just looking forward to making these people laugh and give them something to do because they all in these houses.
I just love seeing all the people that are coming out to support, like even the celebrities are coming out to support and everything like that. I think that it's a great look for what you guys are doing out there, man. Congratulations.
Oh, it's awesome. Bill Burr stopped in and did a guest spot, and that was big for me because he's one of my favorite comedians. There have been other notable people. Kim is on the island right now.
His opening joke was a killer.
Yeah,
his opening joke was hilarious.
I know, and I cut it off because he was working on new material, so I didn't let him finish it. But yeah, thank you for that moment to mention it. So I got to get ready for it. But I'm definitely always trying to log in on Tuesdays, and
I appreciate you.
I'd love to do it as well. So y'all keep fighting the good fight.
and you get yourself ready to start pedaling to work.
Right, exactly.
Oh gosh, yes.
By any chairs necessary.
Thanks, Damon. And go out there and
follow through.
Break a
follow
leg.
through.
Break a leg. All right. So, guys, let's talk about those things that are happening in the news, in trending. And I did want to complete the story about the Riverboat Brawl. They had a press conference today, and as I mentioned, the chief of police said these 13 people, all but one of the three people that the arrest warrants were issued are already in custody. Two were set to return themselves in for booking and processing. And the black man who was hitting people with the chair, they have identified him and no charges. And the chief of police says the Montgomery policemen were consulting with the FBI to determine if hate crime charges are applicable or not. The investigation is ongoing. It sounds like this is far from over. This riverfront brawl landed people in handcuffs, and it's more like the wrist. What do you call those?
Detained.
Yeah.
Well, the little plastic things that they put on them.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
real,
yeah,
not real
the zip
cuffs.
ties, the zip
Yeah,
ties.
zip ties, right?
Zip ties, yeah. Mhm.
But not necessarily in jail. And so they are assuming that the fight participants were arrested on the spot, and lots of video, and they're going through all the video that people are. They're asking for everyone to send in their video, and those that were on the boat, that were on the dock, and taking pictures of all of this. So.
Yeah.
Would you guys
Wow.
have? Let me ask you this: as two men and peace-loving guys, I know that you are. Would you have taken video of this? Would you have jumped to this dock workers' assistance, or would you have walked away?
Oh, yeah, that's a toughie because my mom is watching.
Okay, well, answer for your mama. That's fine.
You, Cameron.
Cameron, son of Crystal, would have probably tried to de-escalate the conflict between the two factions and brokered a lasting peace in Montgomery for all
okay.
time.
Okay, Jimmy Carter.
Come on,
okay.
brokered. I love it. I love it. Well, I can tell you what I wouldn't do.
Montgomery. What's that?
I wouldn't have swam. I can swim, but I know that if I swam and I got there and pulled myself up out the water, I'd have been
that was
done.
impressive.
I'd have been done. I'd have just laid there, and I probably would have been injured and stomped out myself. So I would not have swam. So I'd have waited until the boat had docked, and then I would have skipped with my other brothers to the other and make sure, that they know what they did was wrong in so many words. But I ain't swimming. That would have taken me completely out. They'd push me back in the water, and then I would have drowned. It'd have been terrible. I'd have been no use if I tried to swim. I can't imagine picking myself up. I'm like,
yeah, that was impressive.
16-year-old Med might have been able to do it.
Maybe.
No.
41?
I'm thinking.
41?
and that's water weight, your
water
whole body,
weight,
the clothes, everything, and trying
that
to
wasn't
do that.
out the water like you at the beach. No, he pulled himself up, his whole body out that water, fully clothed. I think he had Timbs on, which is even heavier. And he stood up, rang himself out, and skipped to beat somebody down. And he picked somebody up and dropped him. I was like, "What? That's amazing."
There's a lot of skipping too. That I don't know what I am a big skipper. I love skipping. I love to see children skip. It was interesting to see black men skipping.
It's because they were trying to get the momentum going in the right direction. They were you skipping, and you just like, because you're gonna swing. You're gonna swing. If you see a black man skipping towards you, he is getting momentum to throw a punch at you. There is no talking. He is coming over to whoop your butt because he is skipping in delight of whooping your butt.
Right. Okay, so I get the momentum then. Okay, instead of the big.
You got to get your body going. You got to skip, and
It's physics. Yeah.
Bam! Yeah, so you had to skip, and also they're very happy because they know what they're about to do. So they're skipping with glee.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Got to get there. Got to get there.
You're giving me a total new picture on this.
Absolutely. Momentum.
Yeah.
And glee.
And glee. and
momentum and glee.
I hope that this man, the dock worker, or who was a member of the boat crew, trying to get these people to move their little pontoon. I hope that they are able to give him some sort of reward, because I think that what he did was admirable, because he went by time after time after time, before the attack started. And I hope
Oh
that they
yeah.
recognize the value of his, doing his job and asking them nicely and making sure that, and then only then when called upon, did he, incorporate some physical action. And
Yeah,
I
he
thought that
deserves
was
like
security
admirable.
workman's comp
guard,
for like the rest of his life.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
Certainly
gave a whole new definition to no cap.
right.
Yeah. There's a lot of grandstanding.
Let's
It
going
was
go.
on.
like, this was better than the Mary Tyler Moore moment in the opening of her show and tossing the cap. He was just like,
It was
all
so
right.
dramatic. I was like, let's go. He threw that cap. I'm like, let's go, bro. And he had his phone and they jumped him. I'm like, man.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
somebody go help.
He's like, oh, we got to wait for the hat to go, and then we're going in. And so he's like, all right, here we go.
Man, I just wish he lasted a little longer, because that cap toss was like, he ready to go.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, yeah. That was really pretty cool. That was really pretty cool.
Yeah.
And here's stupidity. One of the white guys, I think on the pontoon boat, decided to go and give on social media, identify himself as one of the people who was inconvenienced. He also owns a business about 50 miles from the boat dock, and he identified his business, and people were like, "Oh, okay, so you're that dude."
Yeah.
And then they
That business went out there.
they went on Yelp, and they just gave him, and I don't know what else they did, but Yelp, from what I understand, is a big deal when you go and give them 1 to 0 to no star, 0 to 1 star. That can do a lot of damage to you. So
He got 1 star, and the comments left were chairs.
right.
They left comments
Right,
chairs in the comments.
right. So, everybody, you anxious to show off? Okay, here's what it'll get you, and
Wow.
I can't believe that.
you. No better for you. Did you guys know that there is a new variant of COVID?
Oh,
It's
back
called,
again, old friend.
yeah, old friend is back. EG.5 is now the dominant COVID variant. Here's what you
Okay.
need to know. It's an offshoot of the Omicron variant and descendant of the XBB strain. It's been circulating since at least April. Oh. However, as of August 5th, it accounts for almost 20% of COVID infections, according to the CDC. This is an increase in cases that it was estimated to make up at the end of May. And the cases are increasing, as I said, across the U.S., increasing 12.5% in the most recent week, a total of almost 10,000 hospitalizations, according to the CDC. And it's also up in Europe. The United Kingdom is reporting increases there. And just want you to know. And I was wondering, and because there's now a lot of conversation of, are we going to be getting COVID vaccines for the winter as we get our flu shots? And what's it going to cost us? Or are they going to give away COVID shots again? And do you have to be a certain age in order to get free ones? And all of these questions, I hope that they will be able to answer for us as we get closer to flu and cold season. I woke up with I've been coughing over the last couple of days and sneezing. And I said, oh, Lord, not another cold. And then I saw this and I was like, yeah, this can't be. But
I think
go ahead, please.
I think the good thing about this is that I don't think the fear is there anymore. And
No.
I understand where
Right.
the fear before was a controlling fear. I think we know about it. We're not afraid of it because now we kind of know how to handle it. And I think before there was the fear of the unknown. We really didn't know what it was. And I remember for me when I got it, the only time I got it was eye-opening experience, because I couldn't, I had a hard time breathing. I couldn't taste. I couldn't smell. I was like, this is the worst disease ever, created. Jesus, this is god awful. But I think now, because so many people have been vaccinated, so many people, even for the people that were never vaccinated, never got the shot, there's so many people that did that. The effect of this thing isn't going to be as widespread. And also, let's be honest, the media ain't pumping it up like they used to. Because I think last year the numbers weren't that much different than it was during the height of the pandemic, but because the media wasn't really pushing it like they were, we didn't really think about it as much.
Right.
But
Right.
but COVID isn't going anywhere. It's going to be around every year. People are going to catch it. But I just think we're smarter now. We're educated
it's not
enough.
COVID. It's I got COVID.
I got COVID. It's like the flu. That's how they're treating it now.
Yeah. And here's why they're concerned about the increase, or saying that the not only because of this variant, but because it used to be when COVID first came, it was in the wintertime, the fall and the winter, and then really amped up in the wintertime. And they said people were inside, and the likelihood of spreading it was, and last year wasn't that much concern because people were getting out and not the exposure. But this summer, because it is so god awful hot, people are going inside, and they say the possibility of germs spreading as you are inside are greater as you are trying to escape the heat. Yes,
But
younger
also
man.
thank you. But also think about this: with me having a child that just went back to school, he came
And
back with
that's
sniffles
the other
already.
one. Yep.
That's where
Right,
you're gonna get a spike of COVID and all these illnesses because all the kids are going back to school and they're coming home. It's gonna spike. It's going to spike. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Once these kids go into that school and their nasty little children go home,
Yeah, I mean,
it
that's
is what it is. It's
they're
gonna
walking
happen.
petri dishes.
Ugh.
Absolutely, it's gonna happen. My son, literally every single year. Shoot, that's how I first got COVID. The first day he stepped into a school, the first day my son stepped into a school, he got COVID and came home and gave it to the rest of us. That was the first day he ever walked into a school, and he got it, and we all got it after that.
And so, and as you begin school, this what is it, this month or next month, Khameron? As classes begin, there's also that concern that with new people coming on campus and all of this, that the likelihood of it spreading, not only in our small little people's classes, but also in our young adults and adult gatherings as well. Is anybody but me still wearing a mask?
In certain situations, I'll throw one on.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
I'm not mad at myself for doing it. I was at a funeral.
I'm not mad at you either.
Saturday, and I was one of a very small amount of people who had a mask on. And then when I do, go to Walmart or whatever on airplanes, I'm still wearing a mask. And I get look at the old lady with the mask. Isn't that cute? No.
I don't feel any way about anybody wearing a mask still. I don't. And it's funny because at the tutoring place that my son goes to, it was literally up until maybe 2 weeks ago that they were still making the kids wear masks. Now they're not. Now all the kids don't wear masks. I'm in Georgia. You're in Texas. You understand how it is. They've been trying to get rid of masks where we live.
Oh my gosh!
From the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So down here it's just so it's almost odd to see somebody in a mask nowadays. And it's honestly usually African Americans that I see with masks. And it's just not a thing here.
Right. Absolutely. Khameron, is it a thing in Chicago?
Every now and then, yeah. I'll throw one on if I don't feel like smiling at people at work. It's great.
I think that's the best thing about it too. Yeah, man. You can if you want to hide the stuff, no one will ask why you got it on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let me just go ahead. I didn't want to deal with nobody.
I can make funny faces at people, or I can stick my tongue out at people, and no one will know.
Man, sunglasses, a mask, and a hoodie, and I'll just leave me alone. I'm invisible at that point.
I'm ready.
Right.
So I'm not mad at the mask and have mine over my rear view mirror and all that kind of stuff too. Who's ready to be a billionaire?
I'm always ready.
Yeah. Okay.
Always ready.
Get your pennies together. The Mega Millions is up to $1.5 billion with a B dollars. Nobody's winning. We're like 30 something weeks without a win, and yet we still get out there and try, and with our however much you're willing to put in, $10 or more, and
Mhm.
waiting for those magic numbers to come across. Are you all doing it? I am.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
I
7-Eleven across
have.
the street, so I might as well just go
Yeah,
play before I go home.
yeah. You can't
I've
win if you don't
never.
play.
I rarely ever. I rarely ever. My dad is like ever since I've known my dad. He's had
Mhm.
my dad ain't supposed to be driving. Honestly, my dad's 75 years old, about to be 76 at the end of the month. And I'll call him. I'll listen, and I'll hear like, "Are you driving?" Yes. I was like, "Where are you going?" To the gas station. Oh, you need some? Like, Dad, I could have gotten gas for you. No, 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 no. I need my numbers.
Okay.
So my dad, by hook or by crook, gonna get his numbers
Yep.
every week.
Yep.
So I'm really praying that my dad wins.
I am praying that he wins too, and that his son is generous to his friends. Um,
Exactly. Come on now. We supporting
uh,
everybody with a billion. Dude.
so as we continue this, and we're going to continue having extended trending here. This is an opportunity for someone to come away with $757 million if you choose the cash option. Don't wait for the yearly, the
The
annual payments. They
annual
say,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The funny thing is when
Uh,
I see people say, "Oh my God, they take so much out," I'm like, $700 million. It's still $700 million.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's an
I'm
and
lot.
like,
yeah,
Uncle
the
Sam.
taxes. Okay, okay.
Let Uncle
I'll take
Sam
it.
take his money. I don't care. Take
Really,
that money.
and if you live in certain states, you don't have to worry about the state taxes. I'm just saying.
At all.
You do have to pay for crazy politicians, however. The odds of winning the lottery are so low. Why do people play? Just take a chance.
Why
Just take a
not?
chance. Why not
They
indeed?
play because people win.
Yeah, people ultimately somebody is going to win, and might as well be me because
Yeah.
Yep.
you all will get yours too. And they give you
Oh,
advice on how to only buy tickets with discretionary income. Don't go into your bucket, for food. Don't go into your bucket for gas. Don't go into your bucket for whatever you absolutely need this money for. But if you don't have discretionary income and you're trying to make some more discretionary income, sometimes you got to go into those buckets. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
sometimes you gotta dip a little.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Gotta dip in. Gotta dip in. Gotta dip in.
The FAA is recommending criminal charges for 22 more unruly passengers, as if we don't have enough. More people are still going off the rails in the air.
Oh,
The
dang.
allegations are including sexually assaulting female passengers. This was crazy. This was on a
Wow.
Delta flight. They had given a man like 10 alcoholic beverages, I think like 10 vodkas and some wine to calm him down. He sexually assaulted a woman's teenage daughter, and even as she tried to tell them what is happening, they got him up to walk around, and he ended up coming back with a glass of wine. I don't understand this. I don't.
I don't
This
understand
is
how
what.
you like. I don't
Wow.
like when I'm guessing they were already up in the air.
Yeah,
It's
but isn't
I
that what
feel
airplanes
I
do? Land and say, "Get the hell off our plane."
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
I don't know I have friends who are, flight attendants, and I've heard horror stories because it's like, if there's no marshal on the plane, then it's up to the flight attendants, who are usually women or
Right.
smaller men, you know what I'm saying, to try and detain these dudes, and we don't know how big these guys are, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. Now you need assistance from other passengers, and that gets murky as well. So
And we've seen how
I
they duct taped them and done whatever they had to do.
Yeah.
do whatever they have to do, and guess what? Get sued. They get sued. They get sued for
Yeah,
doing that, for doing what they need
for
to do,
trying.
because they can't fight the person.
Wow.
So they try to detain them any way that they can, and they get sued by that person, and the person who sues usually wins. So it's a lose-lose
Wow.
situation unless you're putting marshals on every plane that flies
They're
out.
not
You
doing
know,
it. They can't be
Yeah.
on the plane if they're allowed of these crazy things of attacking flight attendants, trying to break into the cockpit. making terroristic threats, smoking in the lavatories, all of these things. Although I can I'm not a smoker, so I don't understand need to smoke in the lavatories. Um, but are these? It just doesn't seem as though they're doing, or people are scared of the consequences.
You literally, again, from my understanding from my friends who are flight attendants, it's like they have no rights. They can't do anything because they can be the airline. Everybody can get sued, so their hands are tied. Honestly, and it's just like it's terrible because if somebody big enough, strong enough, wants to take advantage of a situation, they can. And unless another passenger wants to take that person on, there's almost nothing that you can do until you can get that plane on the ground.
Right.
So even if you have to force land, that still takes time because they have to call it in, wait for an opportunity to land the plane because it's not that simple. You can't just land anywhere anytime.
You can't just drop into somebody's yard anymore and just they get off my plane.
You can't even you can't even drop into an airport unless you get clearance. So it's like during that time you still got to deal with this crazy ass person that's up in the airplane with you.
That just seems so crazy that no one really came to this woman and her teenage daughter's aid. And I know what you're saying, Med, but sometimes lawsuits be damned. And if you have a jury of your peers, I think that most, if not all of them, are going to identify and say, this could be my wife, this could be my child, this could be me and my child, my niece, whatever, and rule in favor of the people that came to this woman's aid.
They just enabled the living heck out of that guy. Yeah. He was a predator and then he got overserved liquor. I mean, come on, like he's been
ridiculous.
Enabled. Yeah.
So the FAA,
there was not enough skip. There's not enough area to skip. There wasn't enough area to skip. They need a little.
There's not enough landing room. Not enough ramp up.
The aisle ain't big. The aisle ain't big enough to get a good skip and the momentum. You could, and as long as you do it with glee, would be able to knock that son out. All right, you just need a little momentum. That's all you need.
That's brilliant recall. Brilliant. The FAA said they can seek fines up to $37,000 against unruly passengers, but they don't have the authority to file criminal charges. And that's why they were referring some of the cases to the FBI. And the FBI, they've now referred more than 270 cases since late 2021. So hopefully this will do something. But that just... And speaking of really burning your butt, Tory Lanez has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting Megan Thee Stallion.
Got him.
That's crazy.
They got him. Yeah.
He gets exiled to Canada, right?
Does he? Is he? Yeah, he's getting sent. I mean, but 10 years. I didn't expect that. Yeah, I did not expect that.
The sentencing came down, and 10 years, nearly 8 months after he was convicted, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Nearly 8 months after he was found guilty of shooting Megan and in her feet following an argument in July of 2020. So 3 years ago. And Daystar Peterson is his real name, and they will not be calling him Tony Lanez inside. Originally going to be sentenced in January, but sentencing was delayed after he hired new legal counsel and attempted to get a new trial. The sentencing hearing took 2 days, and while Megan did not attend the sentencing hearing, she submitted a pre-written statement that prosecutors read in court, and she said, "I struggle with being present. After everything occurred, I cannot bring myself back to being in the same room with Tory." That's just a real shame.
I think,
and I'm not saying that prison is a shame.
Yeah, but I think what the real problem for me with that situation was how everybody, and I mean, it felt like everybody turned on Megan. And I was like,
he paid people to do that.
I was like, what reason does she have to lie about this? And it was just a weird situation where everybody was calling her a lie. They were defending him so hard. I'm just like, it sounds like something some silly ass would do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's liquored up. He feels offended, Napoleon complex, maybe. I don't know. But felt a way about that situation, and it made sense to me. There was it just made sense that this is what happened. But like for everyone to turn on her, I mean, she got shot somehow. There's like a bullet wound in her foot. Like, how did that happen? There was only like 3 or 4 people that could have done it, and Tory was there and he was liquored up.
Right.
Come on. I just don't know how else it could have happened, and it was crazy.
So it seems like justice was served, and I'm not even sure if 10 years was enough. But after all of the trauma that she has experienced, both in her day-to-day life as well as on social media, but good on her for following through and doing what she could, and for the prosecution to do this as well. Let us talk about entertainment in some good entertainment. Beyonce is truly crazy in love with her fans. She went above and beyond over the weekend after she reportedly spent $100,000 to keep Washington, D.C.'s public transit open after her Renaissance tour show was delayed due to bad weather. They had storms go through. The concert was held at FedEx Field, delayed for nearly 2 hours as management had concert goers shelter in place, and she got in touch with the powers that be, or her people did. Hey, this is Beyonce. How you doing? Yeah. We're in the middle of the show. Can you do a sister a solid? Can you? That's the way her daddy would talk. Can you keep the trains running? Because we have to finish our show. Yeah. That's going to cost us. Oh, how much? Okay. Will you take a check? Okay. All right, cool.
Right.
So let's go back to work, girls. And
because that 100,000 it's easy during this tour. That's an easy 100,000.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
not gonna notice that at all.
Swift money, but she's doing really all right.
Look here. I know that Taylor Swift is giving $100,000 to truck drivers that be driving her tour everywhere. But dang it, Beyonce paid for everyone to get home, because we all know what it's like to be in the city somewhere and transit shuts down. You can't get anywhere, or you have to wait an hour and stuff like that. Yeah. It's terrible. And then the videos that I saw, I can't believe she even performed in that.
I know. Because I know.
They said it was raining harder than that, but I'm like, what do you have on your shoes to make you not bust your butt dancing and doing? That is ridiculous. Thank God Atlanta had the dome.
All of that equipment and everything, just bless her heart. Yeah. So good on her. Good on her. She is a hero. Absolutely.
Simulating the economy, revitalizing public transit. That's the power of Beyonce. Yeah. She's in enterprise.
Come on now. Yes, she is.
And they might as well had to pay for that too, even keeping it open. It's like Beyonce paid for us to stay open, but you still got to pay for the ride to get home. But that's okay.
Absolutely. No. You just stayed. You can get home still. Just be happy with that.
Right. Exactly. Let's close out with the Jewel Gentleman, and this week the theme is about getting good sleep. I hope you all are. When you're able to get good sleep, your mind and body are better able to heal.
That's true.
With that.
I'm working on that.
Okay, me too. You and me both, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, nighty night, everyone. Thank you so much, Damon. Thank you.
Hold on, we gotta say this real quick.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, DJ Casper. Rest in peace, DJ Casper. Cha-cha slide. He was battling I believe kidney cancer and liver cancer since 2016. If you get if you're a fan of his, if you get a chance to, please go to ABC 7 Chicago. They did his last interview. It's a great conversation he had about his health. And please check that out.
And just a really dear man. Just really. And for those of us that are not inclined to dance well, gave us instructions for the dance, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also check us out later this week. We're also going to be talking to the new president of Barber Scotia College. And if you would like to donate, we encourage you to do so. Check out that information that we have on our newsletter. Go to b.b/sc.edu if you'd like to contribute to this school that is on its way back. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you guys, and see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Aloha.